Good morning, everybody. Thank you for your patience today. It's 10:03. We'll call the meeting to order. If you would please rise if you're in the room here. Join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. Seeing no public comment here in the room, we'll look for any public comment for anybody who's joined us on the phone. Is there anybody who would like to offer public comment at this time? If you would like to do so, you can simply press *5, and we will be able to recognize you. Okay, we do have one person who would like to make some public comment, so we will recognize them. If you would be willing to please say your name and the municipality you're from as you join us today. Good morning.
Hi, I'd like to know how much you will give each grant applicant, how much money you will give each grant applicant for the for-profit businesses specifically. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. We are actually going to be having a work session this afternoon to discuss the parameters for that. But we had a work session last weekend where we talked about this. It's still in discussion, but we have talked about a variety of different amounts.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
I would
please.
say matrices or scoring systems.
Right, yeah, thresholds. So we are still finalizing that, but it will be happening. Today we will be having a work session on that. So we will be able to announce that later on in the process. So we appreciate the question. Thank you.
Can I go to that work session and just watch and listen to you?
Yes, it's a public meeting. It'll be held at the Willowbank Building in Bellefonte, and the public is able to attend, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome, sure. Okay, do we have any other public comments for anybody else on the phone? You can hit *5, and we will recognize you in the order that it's done. Okay, seeing no other public comment for items not on the agenda, if there would be public comment when each item is under consideration, we will take it at that time. Moving ahead with the agenda, we'll look for a motion to approve our Tuesday, October 6th meeting minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes from the October 6th Board of Commissioners meeting.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on those minutes? Hearing none and seeing none, all in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. The minutes are approved. For our first proclamation today, we have a recognition of the 75th anniversary of the United Nations, and we typically have an event every year that's held, a dinner, celebrates all the different individuals from countries around the world here in Center County, but it's going virtual this year, and so we would like to do this proclamation for their event and join them if possible for their virtual celebration. So we would be looking to, the United Nations has declared that 2020 and beyond is shaping our future together, and we would just be looking to recognize the 75th anniversary of the United Nations and thank the Center County United Nations Association for all they do here in the community. So would there be a motion to approve the proclamation?
Motion to adopt proclamation number 23 of 2020, recognizing the 75th anniversary of the United Nations.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. For a second proclamation, 24 of 2020, we'll welcome in Chad Joyce to discuss this proclamation and all that we're doing here in Center County with our employees, but also our citizens in recognizing Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Chad, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. As technology continues to play a larger role in society, from online shopping to visiting banking sites to posting pictures and information about your friends and family, cybersecurity concerns have increasingly become woven into the fabric of our everyday life. The Department of Homeland Security recognizes October as Cybersecurity Awareness Month. This campaign serves as a collaborative effort between government and industry to raise awareness about the importance of cybersecurity and to ensure everyone has the resources they need to be safer and more secure online. This effort emphasizes personal accountability and stresses the importance of taking proactive steps to enhance cybersecurity at home and in the workplace. The 2020 overarching message is do your part, be smart. This encourages individuals and organizations to own their role in protecting their part of cyberspace, stressing personal accountability and the importance of taking proactive steps. Some basic best practices that citizens can use to help keep their information secure. One of them is using long, complex passwords, making passwords unique for every site, so you don't use the same login and password for your banking site as you do for your online shopping site or your email. This helps if one site becomes compromised, they don't have your login information for another site. Using two-factor authentication where able is another one of the best things you can do. This prevents someone, if they do have your password and you have two-factor authentication enabled, you're able to use that second factor, such as a phone. Oftentimes that site will send you a code to be able to log in. So if they don't have your phone, they won't be able to log in to your banking site or whatever site if a password were to get compromised. Also, to think before you click on a download or attachment, ensure that it's from a trusted source, so you don't introduce, malware or something, virus on your machine. Also, to think before you post information about your friends and family online. And lastly, make sure your software and devices are up to date with the most recent security patches. So I'd like to thank the board for the role that they've helped play in keeping Center County government safe and for adopting this proclamation for the second straight year.
Thank you very much, Chad. We appreciate all the work you do with our IT folks as well in making sure that we've got secure data and keep our citizens and our employees' data safe and secure. So we look for a motion to adopt this proclamation.
Motion to adopt proclamation number 24 of 2020, proclaiming October as Cyber Security Awareness Month.
And moved and seconded. Any final discussion on this? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Okay, thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Margaret, anything to update for COVID-19 planning and response today? Okay. Underneath contracts, we have our human services, and we are going to start with these contracts. Would you like to tackle them, Margaret, or would you like us to run through them? What is yeah.
I could do that. Is Faith on the phone today?
I am not seeing her on here. If she is, she may not have her name listed. Faith, if you are on the phone, if you could just hit *5, that'll prompt us to mute you. Okay, perfect. There we go. She's here.
I thought she was planning to attend.
She is. Yeah. Good morning, Faith.
Okay. Good morning. I apologize
No,
for that.
no.
Yes, I'm here to do the contracts, but yes, Margaret, you can always tackle them for me. I appreciate it. So the first two contracts I have here are both with housing transitions. The first one is for our ESG CV grant fund to the Department of Community and Economic Development for a total of $341,549. And this will be going towards emergency shelter services and homeless prevention. The second one is also a contract with housing transitions for our Home for Good funding, totaling $17,745, which will primarily go towards emergency shelter services. And lastly, I'm requesting permission to submit the 2020 FAIR Marcellus Shale Grant application to PHSA, or the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency. This will actually be the 5th year that we've applied, if you can believe it, for this particular program. As fracking and the presence of Marcellus Shale is actually decreasing in Center County, and I believe most of Pennsylvania, we see our allocation decrease, and we have over the years. I always request about $4,000 more than our allocation, and we've been pretty successful. So I'm doing that same again this year. So I will be requesting $16,000 from FAIR funds, and then offsetting that with, as my request to you, $36,000 from Act 137. So then ultimately we can move into this phase of funding with the same amount of money, just less from FAIR. And just to give you kind of an idea, this would actually be for the year 2022, which is kind of hard to conceptually think about, being, a bit away, but just the way that this particular grant is awarded and kind of how it works in our timeline, that's what we would be looking at.
Faith, 2022
that's all I
can't
have.
get here soon enough.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they got kind of offset. There were a couple of years, including this one because of COVID, but one prior because of some legislation where PHSA got a little delayed, and it kind of just threw off our timing. And we try to keep things either in a fiscal year, state fiscal year, or a calendar year. And so we shifted the calendar. So yeah, it does make it a little confusing when it's 2020 money, but.
So Faith, just looking at the agenda here, the difference between the submission of the grant and then the continuation of the FAIRS Act, I don't know if you have a copy of the agenda in front of you?
Yeah, I'm looking at.
Is there a
I
difference?
think that I
Yeah.
put a commitment letter
Is that it? Okay.
on, but so I believe I submitted, which does not reflect on the agenda now that I'm taking a closer look.
Yes.
So we have a commitment letter with PHSA that would be for fair funds that we were just awarded. And this is all off the top of my head. I think it's $18,000 in fair funds with a $34,000 Act 137 match, and we would technically be scheduled to open that on January 1st of 2021. And so that's a letter that we would need to get approved and signed by you to move forward with the grant agreement. And then separately under grants is what I just discussed. So sorry for that confusion.
No, that's okay. So essentially, you're looking for a letter of support or a letter of agreement. What would it be called?
Yeah, so for the grant, there's a document that I always send down that's a letter of support from the commissioners and then also from the county administrator to sign.
Okay.
And then the commitment letter, of course, just looks very similar to any type of grant agreement that you would typically sign.
Okay. So we would look then for a motion to add adult services items 1 through 3 on next week's consent agenda, and then we can take action to just make a quick amendment to item A under grants to make it so that we're taking action on a letter of support. So would there be a motion for items 1 through 3 there?
Motion to add adult services items 1 through 3 to next week's consent agenda.
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay. So we look for a motion to amend the agenda to remove item A there, and in its place, we would have a letter of support for the 2021 fair. Is that what, if you could give it to us, Faith, just how you'd like us to put it on the agenda, that would be fine.
Yep, I will resubmit that, not a problem.
Oh, no, you can just tell us right now, and we'll take care of it.
Oh, I apologize. Yeah, so underneath A,
Yes.
number 3 for contracts, that would be the PHSA or fair commitment letter for $18,000.
Okay.
And that would be for January 1st, 2021
Okay.
to December 31st, 2021.
Okay. Thank you, Faith. So we look for a letter of support.
You're very welcome, yep.
Sure. Letter of support to PHFA, which is essentially a commitment letter of $18,000 for January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2021. Would there be a motion to replace that with item A?
Are we actually replacing it, or do we still need to take action on item A?
No, item A is a duplication of number 3, yeah. Yep.
All right. So, motion to replace item A, adult services under grants, with the wording that the commissioners should sign the fair commitment letter of support for fiscal year 2021 from January 1st to December 31st.
I will second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion is carried, and then we'll look for a motion to add that to next week's consent agenda.
Motion to add the submission of the 2021 fair commitment letter to next week's consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay, thank you, Faith. Have a great day.
Thank you, I appreciate you too.
Okay, Jeff Warren, our Director of EMA, is here, and we will turn it over to him for the grant. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning. I would ask that Commissioners endorse the U.S. Department of Homeland Security Federal Fiscal Year 2020 State Homeland Security Grant Program Agreement. And the period for that is September 1st, 2020 through August 31st, 2023. And the amount of that contract is $505,540. And what this is, this funds the Terrorism Task Force, and we are a member of the South Central Mountain Terrorism Task Force, which includes 7 other counties besides ours. You're quite familiar with that, and the task force provides equipment and training to the first responders within those counties as the primary task. And I would remind the commissioners that normally the PEMA grants are electronically endorsed. This one is a hard copy ink signature.
Okay, super. Thank you, Jeff. And again, this is going to be a multi-year grant. Looks like it's going to be 3 years. So 36 months of funding, and we look forward to the partnership that is continuing here. Any questions for Jeff before we look for a motion? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, we'd look for a motion.
Motion to add the 2020 State Homeland Security Grant Program Agreement to next week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions for Jeff before we look for a motion? Okay. Hearing none and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion is carried. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you. Okay, so we have I just want to make sure we've got a few folks on. Under planning, we have a submission of a payment request number 7, and this is for the project for the Mountaintop Activity Center. We have Liz Lose, I believe. Liz, are you going to be talking to this item?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good morning. How are you?
Yes, I am fine. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. This request is in regards to the Phase 5 renovation project for the Mountaintop Activity Center, which is the restroom facilities being completed by J.C. Orr. The project actually started on Tuesday, September 22nd, with a scheduled end date of Friday, October 23rd. Just as a reminder, all the renovations, all the phases 1 through 5 up to this date were made possible by a $100,000 DCED Development Keystone Grant, which thus far has been drawn down to a remaining balance of $40,000. The total project cost that J.C. Orr quoted was $39,000 to complete this project. The project includes the rough framing for the restrooms and a laundry room. They'll get a electrical service panel upgrade and the needed plumbing and tie-ins for their public water and sewer service. The co-director and myself, we made a site visit out in the first week of the project. The demolition was complete. It was pretty straightforward, and the rough framing was already underway. So at this point, they're halfway through the project. They might actually be a day or two ahead of schedule. So we are grateful and excited to have J.C. Orr in there to get this restroom facility underway. So I'm just asking you gentlemen this morning that we can submit the payment request to DCED to pay J.C. Orr the $6,750 incurred for the first 2 weeks of the project.
Okay, thank you very much, Liz, for the summary and the recommendation. We'd look for a motion.
Motion to add submission of the payment request to next week's consent agenda.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Okay, thank you very much, Liz. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, and we're going to be welcoming in Ray Stolinas and Mitzi Gallagher-Long to the call now to discuss everything CDBG. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning, Commissioners. How are you?
We're good, thank you. We're good. We're going to be turning it over to Ray and then to Mitzi. So we'll take it away, Ray.
Sure. We are in the midst of submitting our fiscal year 2020 Community Development Block Grant Program application, and we will be having our public hearing, the second public hearing this evening at 6 p.m. For the follow-up to the submission of the grant. I'm going to let Mitzi Gallagher-Long from CEDACOG explain the items on the agenda are mainly focusing in on documentation we need for that application.
Thank you, Ray. We have several application forms that will need signature. There are the general application certifications for the county as well as for Bellefonte. There is a disclosure report that is also a requirement. What that is an application form that lists all of the different projects and the different entities that will be your subgrantees. There is a 4-factor language access plan and certification that will need signed, and that basically states that within Center County you do have limited English proficiency, parts of your county that have those residents. You have Chinese and Russian as well as West Germanic, so that requires that form. And that also, what that does is trigger that any of the hearing notices or any type of notices, fair housing notice, etc., that gets placed in the newspaper has to have the Russian, Chinese, and West Germanic line in there stating that there would be translation available. There is the resolution to sign, which we will be going over during the hearing as well, and that's also a requirement that the county says, yes, these are our projects, and we give the okay to apply for these projects in the application. There is the resolution to sign, which is used to be labeled an agent resolution, and that basically gives CEDACOG the ability to go ahead and submit that application for the county, as well as revisions, modifications, etc. And then the new one that DCD is asking for all counties to readopt this year is what they call the complaint procedure, and that is for Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. And I believe that's all of them.
Okay, thank you very much, Mitzi. Thank you, Ray. Any questions, comments for? Okay, all right. We look then for a motion to add those 7 items to next week's consent agenda.
Motion to add the community development block grant items 1 through 7 to next week's consent agenda.
Second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. We look forward to the public hearing tonight at 6 p.m. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the consent agenda in front of us. Is there a motion to approve today's consent agenda?
Motion to approve today's consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Seeing and hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion is carried. Okay. Margaret, anything to report under Administrator's report?
Yes, I do have one item to share this morning. You'll recall that a few weeks ago, Patricia Best was here to give a report on the Task Force on Mental Health Crisis Services, and as part of that presentation, she mentioned that there would be public hearings scheduled that will allow the public to respond to recommendations being put forward by the task force. Those public meeting dates have been released, and they are scheduled for 2 times, not just one, but 2 separate occasions. Tuesday, October 20th at 6:30, and Wednesday, October 21st, also at 6:30. These will be virtual. There'll be more information. Press release is will be forthcoming with contact information for the Zoom links. But important to note that there will be these 2 public hearings coming up.
Okay. And again, a week from today, and then the day after, 6:30, and virtual.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Margaret. Okay. Okay. We have today's check run, and we'll turn it to Commissioner Higgins.
Sure. Today's check run is smaller than average, $721,877.72. But in keeping with one of today's agenda items, we have a check to the Bellefonte Borough for $64,169, and I'm pretty sure that's a prior year's community development block grant check for them to reimburse expenses permissible under the federal guidelines. So I would like to make a motion to approve the check run dated October 9th.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. The motion is carried. Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Under CNET requests, we received word that the Sierra Club of the Shannon Group is not able to sponsor a forum, and instead another group, the Nittany Valley Environmental Coalition, has stepped forward to do this, and I would suggest that we table this just for 2 more days. I had some questions I wanted to reach out to the group, was not able to do that yet, so I'd recommend we just table this for another 2 days to take consideration of that, if that's okay with.
Yeah, I have some questions as well. So.
Absolutely, yes, okay, all right. Is there any public comment on this? I believe we have some members from that group, but if you did have anything to add to this, you are more than welcome to offer comments at *5, and then we can recognize you at this time, okay? Okay, good morning. If you'd be willing to just state your name and municipality you're from, that would be much appreciated.
Hi, this is Dorothy Blair, and I am the president of Nittany Valley Environmental Coalition, and my municipality is Harris.
Hi, Dorothy. Good morning.
Good morning. I don't quite understand how you can approve this outside of your meeting, but maybe you can explain that to me, and I guess you don't. If you have questions, could you direct them to me?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. No, so we actually, just to let you know, Dorothy, we have a public meeting as well on Tuesday or Thursday at 10 a.m.
Oh, it's Thursday at 10 a.m. Okay.
Yes. So I'm suggesting to the board that we just table it for 2 more days, and then we could offline reach out to you with some questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it's getting pretty late. We're trying to do as much as we can. We
Sure.
already have an ad in the Gazette, but it doesn't depend totally on you, so that's okay. We just have to go ahead.
Of course. We appreciate the timing of this,
Yeah.
and yep, absolutely.
Thank you very much for considering it.
Oh, you're more than welcome, Dorothy. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, you bet. All right, and we have another individual who would like to make some comment, and we will recognize them at this point. Good morning.
Good morning again, and I'm just seconding what Dorothy said. I guess they're back up here this morning, but if there's any questions, we'll certainly we'll be able to answer them for you. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Have a nice day. Okay. Okay. All right. So I would entertain a motion. Let's entertain a motion to table this for our next meeting on Thursday.
Motion to table the CNET request for the Nittany Valley Environmental Council to our Thursday meeting.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay. Commissioner Gershom, we'll turn it over to you.
All right, we have a voter registration report this morning that includes 110,352 registered voters. That's up 383 registrants from last week. The tally looks like there are 46,307 Democratic registered voters, 155 Green Party, 705 Libertarian, 15,118 no affiliation, and 43,806 Republican voters, which, when you add the 4,265 all other parties, of which I would like to include one member of the Libertarian Transhumanist Party this morning, you get the 110,352 registered voters. The featured precinct this week is Videon Central, precinct number 89, Ferguson West Central. And in the primary election, they had total registration of 1,199 voters. There were 612 ballots cast, which led to a percentage turnout of 51.04%, which is over 50%. That's pretty good. And the folks that make it happen at Videon Precinct 89 is Denise Meyer is the judge of elections. James Dunn is the minority inspector. Amanda Paveglio is the majority inspector. And the clerks are John Pringle, Jeanette Conklin, and Joseph Meyer. want to thank all those. And while we're at this, I'd like to make a couple announcements. October 19th is the last day to register for the general election, November 3rd. And also, folks who requested mail-in ballots, they were sent out late last week, begun to be sent out late last week, and hopefully you'll be receiving yours in the mail if you haven't already very, very soon. So, anything else, Michael, that I'm forgetting, or Mark?
Nope, yeah, registration's right around the corner.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, voter registration ends.
That's a hard date. If you're not registered, in person by 5 o'clock on Monday,
Right.
or online by 11:59 p.m., sorry, those are the rules.
Right, and then October 27th actually is the last day to apply for a mail-in or a civilian absentee ballot. So just to make sure that everybody knows that, it's October 27th. So next Tuesday is the 19th for the registration, and the 27th is the hard date for the mail-in and absentee ballots.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner.
That's it.
Okay. Any other announcements that we would have today? Margaret, anything? Okay. Any executive sessions that we need to report?
No executive session.
Okay, and any need to hold any after the meeting? Okay. All right. Gary, Evan, Marley on the phone, any questions for us today?
Commissioners, have you been privy to any information on breakdown of ages in terms of Penn State student COVID cases? In particular, under 21 versus over 21 cases. Have you heard any information on the breakdown there? Especially since, bars and things have been cited as a targeted area for that.
Sure.
But has there been data indicating the breakdown of student cases over 21 versus under 21? And you have a breakdown of that information?
I can't recall if it's actually 21 or if it's 25.
It's 25.
That's right. That's what I thought. Yeah.
So they don't even gather the data in those categories, unfortunately, Evan. Plus, there are a lot of grad students at Penn State who are in that earlier 20 range.
Is there a breakdown then for the 20 between that range, like the 18 to 25 and 25 and above range?
We do receive breakdowns from the Department of Health that's also available to the public for that. And at this point, the overwhelming majority of COVID cases diagnosed in Center County are in that 19 to 24 age range.
Do you continue talks with the health department, and especially Penn State has stated in the past, don't focus on the campus cases, look at hospitalizations. Past week, hospitalizations increased. Do you continue to confer with health department on those type of issues?
Absolutely, yes. We're, as we know, the testing center wound down. The individuals who were helping to run that, AMI, operate it, needed to be redeployed to another county. And so we're in conversations with AMI to see how we can continue that partnership. We don't have anything official to announce, but we'll hopefully have something this Thursday that we can discuss and talk about, see what our options are. But in terms of our partnership with the Department of Health, we continue to ask them for any and all resources they can provide to the county, in addition to any, again, data or just knowledge that they can provide to us. We're obviously one of the locations within the state that still has cases present, and so we again ask them almost daily for additional resources, anything that they can provide.
Any concerns about two top employers, Penn State and Mount Nittany Health, both had, at least recently, Penn State, about 30 layoffs with some very long-term positions. Mount Nittany, throughout the summer at least, had eliminated a number of positions and announced recently that they are still at a great shortfall. They're still seeing a downward trend in terms of business and finances. It concerns that, top two employers in the state, or in the county, I should say, are still struggling financially. Could be more layoffs coming there potentially.
Sure, and even if it's a large employer, small employer, any loss of business, any loss of jobs is an impact to the community and to the families. Not knowing all the intricacies of each of the decisions makes it difficult to speak to that. The hope would be that if any, again, large or small employer makes the decision to do a layoff that permanently affects individuals, that it's done with the knowledge of the effects and hopefully there's a path forward for those people through other employment or other opportunities with that company or other companies. So, we appreciate that, and we, through our Workforce Development Board here locally, have always been able to get job retraining, additional employment opportunities available if that's the case.
Voting, are there any other plans to add any more drop boxes? I see one's going at the hub, so you've got, 8 countywide then?
We have 7 set, and we have the one at the hub that's being worked on. Yes.
Any other plans to? Any other sites?
No, none. No other permanent locations, no.
Legally, is everything, I've seen some updates on some of the cases and such, is that basically wrapped up now, or is there any loose ends there?
Well, it's we still have 20-some days until the election, so anything can happen. But the current cases, the large ones that were hanging out there, have either been dismissed or, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court has found that the drop boxes are allowable.
Registration numbers, you told us last week, are about 500 a day. Is that what you're seeing currently, or about that pace? Or applications for mail-ins, I guess?
Yes, it's about 300 to 400 a day. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep.
And when, I think Steve mentioned, when those could be seen later this week or beginning of this week, right now, in terms of being sent out to folks?
Sure, they're in mailboxes today, a portion of them, and then we'll have some more following along throughout the week. Yeah.
You've said in the past you've got deputies working the boxes in all kind of aspects. Is it part of their instructions, or is it only law enforcement that can do it? I'm wondering about the body cams. When and if they're around boxes, will the body cams be on, do you know?
Yes, they are. Yes, we asked specifically for the sheriff to essentially, when the individuals, the bipartisan team of people who are emptying the boxes, when they essentially start to walk towards the box to open it, the body cam would go on, and then when they are leaving the site, the body cam goes off. But yes, all that footage is recorded as another safety precaution for them, and also another check and balance.
The CARES Act money, I know that we're kind of, maybe it was discussed earlier, I apologize if so, but the funds related to that, where are we in the process, at least for businesses and nonprofits right now?
Sure. Yeah, if anybody would want to, I don't.
Sure.
Yeah,
Well, from the small business standpoint, we're still working on the exact formula that we're going to use to distribute the funds. But I believe Mary Kay did announce that we had, help me out here, Margaret, I think it was 527 applications that appeared to at least initially be valid, in that the company was located in Center County, and that they did have either 100 employees or less, unless they were in tourism, in which case any size was eligible. At this point, we're working through some of the finer points, such as ensuring that if a business did receive PPP grants or EIDL grants, or possibly even the new Pennsylvania $200 million grant system through the CDFIs, I think they call it something like the Pennsylvania Commonwealth Small Business Grant. We're working on mechanics on that in terms of how to follow those dollars. But yeah, once we have all that nailed down, we'll get a recommendation from Mary Kay and the Penn State SBDC. Then we will approve that, and then we'll work with the Finance Department and the Controller's Office to get those checks out as quickly as possible.
Approximate timeline?
Well, unfortunately, it does keep slipping a little bit as we encounter more and more federal rules, but we are hoping to be mailing checks out before the end of the month.
How about nonprofits?
That one I'm a little less familiar with.
Yeah, Margaret.
The county has partnered with the Center Foundation to actually help us in reviewing of the applications. The application period closed approximately a week ago, and they're now going through those applications, reviewing them for, all the types of information requested, and we should have a listing from the Center Foundation later this week about how many applicants there are, and looking at the next steps. So they will follow the small business distribution.
there is money going to school districts?
Yes, I think we actually have had some of the partnership agreements that have been signed between us and the school districts and the university. So yeah, that money, again, it's a reimbursement where they submit reimbursement to us. But yes, we've allocated that and have those agreements out. Mm-hmm.
State is among the applicants?
Penn State is among one of the awardees. We've allocated $250,000 to them for contact tracing. So that's been allocated, and they're will use those funds for contact tracing amongst the on-campus population.
In townships, I know that not all, and boroughs had, we were kind of about 50-50 there. Is there an update there, Margaret?
Yes, certainly. So the Board of Commissioners made allocations to all 35 municipalities based on a reimbursement system. The municipalities are reviewing what those terms and conditions look like under the Federal CARES Act, and many of them have already submitted their claim reimbursements to us, and we're in the process. So by the end of the month, we'll know exactly what's being utilized out of that application pool, so to speak, for the municipalities. So it's moving along.
One of the later changes to this whole CARES Act funding formula was the fact that municipalities that had police departments could use their police time and wages as part of that conversation. So obviously the municipalities that do possess or contract with through police obviously have a kind of upper hand on the process, because they can immediately draw down their funds using their police services. So that's been a very positive thing for those municipalities that have police departments.
As you've probably been able to gather, the rules keep changing every week or two. Fortunately, they have been tending to broaden the possible uses of the funding. But these are the largest grants in Center County history. I think our small business grant program is the largest grant program that Center County government has ever administered. So again, compliments to Margaret, Mary Kay, the rest of the staff in the Controller's Office, Finance Department, et cetera, for working a lot of extra time to make sure we meet all of the changing federal and state requirements.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions from the phone? Marley, any questions? Okay. All right, we are not seeing any. Okay. All right, we look then for a motion to adjourn at 11:15.
Motion to adjourn at 10:46.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you all. Thank you.